via East Arnhem Land, heading out of Refuge Bay and on our way north to the Crocodile Islands to go around them and then down into Cape Stewart, I believe it is. Looks like it's going to be a fair bit of motoring today. We've got about 80 miles to do, a lot of ground to cover and only about 10 knots of wind. So to get into an anchorage before nightfall, which I do prefer to do for me and Tan's mental health, we're going to have to motor. Hey, Bidley? We're about to cross over a sandbank, probably 30-35 nautical miles offshore, north of the Crocodile Isles in Arnhem Land. It's always a little bit disconcerting when crossing a sandbank because you never know if it's shifted or not since your charts were made. I'm using two different sets of charts here, so I'm hoping they both seem to agree with each other, fairly close, so I'm hoping that there shouldn't be any issues. But the shallowest depth that I can expect, even if it has shifted, is probably about 5 metres. So I think we'll be going through in about 14-15 metres of water. You know, if it shelves up really badly, then certainly we'll want to bear away and hope for the best. But it's always a bit stressful when you do this, especially here in Arnhem Land, where so much of the area is either unsurveyed or insufficiently surveyed. This part of the chart doesn't reflect that. It actually seems to be properly charted, but you know, it still creates doubt in your mind, so it's always a little bit stressful. So there's our mates Gary and Will on Lady D. They've been with us since Torres Strait, and we're going as far as Darwin together by the look of it. It's always good to have sailing buddies, mate, nearby, especially in remote parts of the world. So thanks to you guys. Maybe you'll see this episode, I'm sure you will. So it's a calm day today. We've got a very light breeze we're beating into, probably not even 8 knots. But we have got a little bit of heel on, so we're getting a little bit of propulsion from the sails, but we have to motor as well. That leaves me on lunch duty today. I'm going to make some Spanish mackerel in panko breadcrumbs. Easy, just cut up the Spanish mac. I like to cut it fairly thin, stick it in some egg yolk, whack it in the breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs, whack it in the hot oil, like that. Yeah, Spanish mackerel cooked in the pan. You've got to add your Thousand Island dressing, or whatever it's called. Yep, Thousand Island dressing, that stuff's fantastic. Add that on top. It's just coming on sunset and we're approaching Cape Stewart in East Arnhem Land. Behind me you can see Lady D, just going to follow us into the anchorage there. It's apparently unsurveyed, although the Cairns Darwin guide does seem to make it fairly straightforward. Some challenges today though. Firstly is that we'll be entering right on sunset, so it's going to be difficult to see if there is anything in the water. Number two is that the wind has swung from the southeast around to the northeast, which is only temporary according to Windy. It's just an afternoon sea breeze, but that's setting up a little bit of a swell and a chop going into the bay that should ease off within sort of 2 or 3 hours, I guess, and then swing into the southeast gently. So the anchorage, although right now probably is not ideal, should settle down tonight and be not too bad. The only alternative, of course, is to stay at sea and keep going. You know, if we go in there and anchor and it's just not safe, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And Lady D will have to make their own decisions about whether they want to stay or move on. The unfortunate thing is if we don't stay there, the next anchorage is a good 50-60 miles away. And that won't be suitable for tomorrow afternoon, as there is a northeast forecast according to Windy. Even though the Bureau is not forecasting any northeasters, you can see them quite clearly on Windy. And you can see our approach there to Cape Stewart. The white area is the unsurveyed area. So we're just going to approach very carefully from that point forward. The Cairns to Darwin guide does say that it is an anchorage and you can use it. It just says to be very careful. So that's what we're going to have to do. Now this anchorage is definitely one of those against my better judgment ones. Yeah. Anyway, we're here. Let's go and try it and just see where we end up. If we don't like it, then I'm just going to set sail and get the hell out of here. Yeah. So I've got Tarn up on the bow. She's just going to try and look for stones, but you know, the water's so murky, and it's, you know, sun is literally dipping on the horizon now. In fact, I'll show you right there. So we're literally losing light by the minute. We've still got 10 minutes to go to get in there at the current speed. And how far we can go, I don't know. How much protection it'll give us, if any. I'm actually dubious. I don't think we'll get much, if any, protection inside. At least until the wind changes and eases off in the next few hours. Like by the morning, this anchorage will be quite good. But for the next 4 hours, it's going to be shite. We've anchored in Refuge Bay. No, not Refuge Bay, Cape Stewart. Quite an open anchorage, especially with this afternoon sea breeze that was setting into the bay. I've set a shitload of chain out. We've got nearly 60 metres out in 5 metres of water. So yeah, I don't think we're going to drag, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it during the night. But this wind is supposed to ease off in the next few hours and swing around to the south and basically just drop away. So I don't think it's a dangerous place to be, even though we are on a lee shore for a little while. In the meantime, Tarn's making dinner for me. Tarn's making dinner for us. Check this out. Tom Yum Spanish mackerel. Basically it's a spicy sour soup. Hot and spicy sour soup that Ty's love. I love it too. It's yummy. She tries not to make it too spicy for me, you know, because I'm a Westerner. But we do actually have a little disaster on board. We have realised that we are on our last little bag of rice. And for a boat with an Asian cook, that is a disaster. I don't know what we're going to do about that. We've got another 5 days or so to get to Darwin. We might have to make that short so we can get some rice.